Hey, everybody. Kellen Harned Ryan Hoke with you. We're glad you're settled in on a, what is it?
It's Tuesday.
Just
Congratulations.
Tuesday.
You've made it to only Tuesday.
See, I work Sunday, so I keep thinking today is Wednesday. And
Yes.
I keep telling myself, wait a minute, it's not Wednesday yet. No, not yet. All right. But for all of the school kids, NTI for JCPS on Wednesday. So you had Monday off, President's Day. It was what, Gold Day yesterday? What do they call it for teachers or today?
Yeah, like parent-teacher conference.
Tomorrow, you've got the NTI. So congrats. I guess, right?
Some of the teachers are like, I don't know about this NTI because they have to make sure they're prepared for it, right? So it takes a little effort on the teacher's part.
I was just talking to a buddy of mine who's a teacher in JCPS, and he was like, yeah, I don't. I feel like we've been on NTI more than not this year, which is kind of nutty, isn't it?
It's weird. You know, this is the most snow we've had in a winter since 2014-15. So about 10 years since we've seen anything like this.
Yeah, I asked you to pull those stats today because I was curious to see when we would double the average, which would be like, what, 26.8 inches?
I think 26.8 is correct.
Would be doubling the average because 13.4 would be average. That's what we would typically see for a whole season. We're already over 20 inches, believe it or not, for the season so far. Then part of that's because we picked up 1.1 inches of snow today.
Which was forecast, by the way. We did forecast up to an inch of snow.
Yeah.
Overachieved a little bit, but, you know, it happened. There you go. And, of course, the roads responded by being slick because it was so cold this morning. Super fluffy, dry snow we had.
Lots of people from everywhere watching. Shonda, Jeffersonville. There's Ralph from Nicholasville. Laura from Southern Indiana. There's Trimble County with Kathy Scott chiming in. So appreciate that. We're going to take your questions. We've got a lot of those. Listen, here's the deal. I know some of you are on one single Facebook page, and it's like, well, maybe you got 10 questions there, and you're like, why are they not answering my question? Well, the fact is we've got Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, X, everything's going into this, and there are lots of comments. We can't possibly get to them all. And for folks that are watching on our apps, while you may not be able to communicate with us, you can follow along, and we'll be answering some questions. You can always jump over to one of our social platforms to ask those questions.
Yeah, over 750 people on just our YouTube/social platforms alone right now, and likely thousands on Wave Weather Now. So thank you for watching Wave Weather Now. It's our 24/7 local weather live stream.
Yeah, we've got people from everywhere. We'll let a few more people gather in here. If you have the chance to share this will save us some time from repeating ourselves, which we appreciate. So just push it out. Let your people know, hey, let's get a quick weather update with Kevin Ryan. And we're going to walk you through not only the snow chance that we have for tonight and what the latest data says. We've got all the models lined up, so you're going to be able to see them. But we're also going to talk about Wednesday night and early Thursday. There's a snow chance there. So 2 snow chances covered by the alert day that's in place. And then, of course, the flooding that's been ongoing. We're looking forward to the crest of the Rolling Fork. That's in major flood. We're in minor flood along the Ohio, both on the upper and lower gauge. So we'll talk about that, too, as we roll through some of your comments. There's Madison and Jill, a lot of folks chiming in. Out of LaGrange, there's Dale. So thank you. We appreciate that for folks that are watching from near and far. Kathy, thank you for sharing it. Amy's here in Louisville. We're going to get to some of your comments and questions as we roll along. Let's start out well, first of all, it's not snowing yet, but it could snow. And you know the way we measure temperature, right?
With a thermometer.
A thermometer. This is going to be a little, bring the kids around. Get them in. Let's talk about this. So, thermometer. What about wind speed?
Anemometer.
An anemometer. Wind direction?
A wind vane.
A wind vane.
Yep.
Humidity? That's always a tough one.
Oh,
let's come back to that one.
Okay.
All right. Because that one's tough. You should know all these.
I hope I do.
Yeah. Right? Well, how about pressure?
Barometer.
A barometer.
Yes.
All right. Now back to the hard one that I mentioned.
Yes. Hygrometer.
That's how we measure the humidity. And what about snow? What about rain? Rain gauge.
Right. But snow is a.
Yeah, wait.
Oh.
I was going to see if anybody had it.
Anybody have it?
I'm looking. Takes a second. We've got people chiming in. Rosalind did have the hygrometer.
Good. Yep.
Nice job.
That's a Final Jeopardy question right there. Hygrometer.
Right. All right. Let's wait no longer. To measure snow accurately, you have to have a
snowboard.
Look at that.
That's live, guys. That's from our Wave Weather Garden, if you can believe it. That is our official Wave snowboard. And can you believe that our crack team of engineers and Kevin Harned today in our basement here at Wave, the nuclear fallout shelter underneath my feet, designed this very high quality wood and tape snowboard that will give you just the most accurate snow total in Wave country.
This is the best. This is how, listen, not like we didn't have other things to do. Why are you in my camera shot?
I need to lean this way so it's not as awkward. Because everybody's like, what the heck is he there twice?
We've got like 19 boxes up.
We need a bigger set.
Right. Yeah. We're on this tiny desk here. But we do have the official snowboard, right? So that is actually how you measure snow. You have that flat and then you can clean it off. When we get up to that first line, we're at 1 inch. When we get to the second line, we're at 2 inches and so forth. We'll see how much snow we get later on tonight.
Look at that thing. It's gorgeous, isn't it? The label maker came out today. It's got the logo branding. I mean, I'm like super proud of this, that you guys did this.
Yeah, it didn't take that long. They thought I was nuts. I'm walking around down in the basement. I'm like, hey, I've got these boards I need to screw together. And by the way, do we have a label maker? They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm making the official snowboard for the city of Louisville. Duh.
He popped in the weather office with this thing today, and Brian Good and I both got bug-eyed like, you're kidding.
I made it for Brian because he is such a snow lover. And for like the last 5 years, okay, who are we kidding here? For the last 12 years,
yes,
he's been like, we need a snowboard. We need a snowboard. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that can't be that hard to make. I'll make one and bring it in. Well, I never did it. Well, finally, we are surely getting close to the last decent snow of the season. And I said, you know what? I'm going to give him a snowboard. So there it is.
Isn't that amazing? I think that's just an engineering marvel right there.
It was a lot of fun to do. It only took about 20 minutes, by the way. It's not like we spent a lot of time on the thing. I needed a magic marker, 2 pieces of wood, and a label maker. That's what it was.
And that's how you can make a snowboard at home. Maybe we should make a YouTube video about how to make this.
Well, that's what we should have done. I didn't even think of that. It was super cool.
Yeah, take some video. We could have stitched it together. It would have been on the TikToks and the YouTubes and the
kids these days always thinking about recording everything. I didn't think
but it was a surprise, so I had no idea.
All right. Let's talk about the alert day. Let's jump into it. For folks, and speaking of, this is why it's important to have a snowboard, by the way, because we had that 1.1 inches of snow this morning. So if you think, oh, you're going to go stick a ruler in the ground or the grass, first of all, that's not a good space. You need a hard, flat space to measure on. And then, you can't use the snow that's already there. So you have to clean it off, right? And that's why we have a clean snowboard there. We'll see how much we get late tonight and throughout the day tomorrow. We'll clean it off and we'll do it again for the Wednesday night and Thursday morning.
Just make sure you write down your totals before you clean it off.
Yeah, then you can add it all up.
Bingo.
All right, here we are with the alert day. We're going to keep this in place until 9 a.m. on Thursday. Remember, we've got 2 more rounds of snow. If you were watching last night, we said there would be 3 impact points. One would be Tuesday morning, which we had. That's gone. Now we have tonight, and then we'll have tomorrow night into early Thursday.
Right. So these 2 rounds of snow you need to both pay attention to because temperatures will be so low that every flake will stick. So this will be hazardous travel. And in fact, with this second round of snow late tomorrow night, even though it's just an inch, keep this in mind. We'll be getting down into the lower teens and upper single digits as this is wrapping up. Road treatment won't work as effectively on that second round tomorrow night. And it won't be super great tonight either, though it should still work because we'll be above 15 degrees, at least here in Louisville. So that's something to keep in mind. This is a dry, fluffy snow. It's going to blow around. Visibility, even with a 10 or 15 mile per hour wind gust here, could be a problem at times.
Very high snow ratios, as we call them. Typically, you'd see like around here, average would probably be like 12-1. We always use 10-1, but 12-1 is probably more accurate. But in that snow this morning, 22-1 was the ratio. So
that's super rare. I actually looked back at some stats on this, and we don't see that often at all. It's more that typical 10, 11, 12-1. So what we saw this morning, rare. What we'll see tonight will likely be about 20-ish to 1 snowfall ratios.
Well, let's talk about the timeline for this, because between now and about noon tomorrow, we're going to see this heavy snow move into the area. That's especially true in Kentucky. So for those in southern Indiana, you're going to get less snow than what our neighbors to the south will get. We see a break in that snow. So this will be some at least dry time, at least from it falling, from midday Wednesday through about 9 p.m. And then we pick up this next round of snow looping on the backside of the system. And that's going to bring in not only the colder Arctic air, but also the fact that we could see some snow showers squeezed out of that. That's why we say another inch would be possible between 9 p.m. Wednesday and 9 a.m. on Thursday.
Don't fall asleep on just an inch of snow. We saw what happened this morning. This will be another repeat of that for Thursday morning with round number 2. Look at temperatures. We're already down to 14 in Salem, here in Louisville at 23. We only ranged between 19 degrees and about 24 today, only a 5-degree shift in that temperature overall here. So the roads are super frozen, Kevin. It's not like this isn't going to stick. It'll stick to every surface, and the wind's not making it feel any better.
No, and the wind will whip it around some, so that'll reduce visibilities. We've got wind chills in the single digits for many. So it is cold outside, but it's going to get colder. That's an important part of the forecast as well. We look at temperature. We also like to look at the wind chill. You factor in the dew point. This is a helpful measure as well of when we will actually saturate the atmosphere. So you might look at the radar and say, well, it looks like we've got snow on top of us, but nothing's falling from the sky.
And this is why the dew point is too low. You need that temperature and dew point to meet up real close together. That makes a relative humidity near 100%. Then your snowflakes can make it to the ground. Your snowflakes are literally sublimating before they make it down to you. If the air is too dry, meaning going from a solid snowflake to a gas, water vapor once again. So you see how it's getting more moist in Columbia, 19 degrees here in Louisville, about 6-degree dew point. This is still dry enough, by the way, to like crack your skin and make you use hand lotion here. But once we moisten up overnight, that's when the snow will really start to move in. And you can already see that in southern and western Kentucky.
Yeah, and the fact is, as we reach saturation, when relative humidity is 100%, that's when the temperature does equal the dew points. So the dew points have to come up just a bit before we start to see those flakes reach the ground. Visibilities help give us an idea of where we have snow falling as well, because it reduces the visibility.
Yep.
And clearly you can see from Evansville to Owensboro to Greenville, reduced visibility. The only way to suggest that that would be the case is that we have snow falling and actually reaching the ground.
Yeah, so we've had some complaints already in the comments here like, hey, it's not snowing yet. I see that's on the radar. What's going on? And that is why. It's all about trying to moisten up the atmosphere to get that snow to move on to areas near ground level here. But
it will not take long.
It won't, because you've already seen the visibilities out to our west. You see the radar returns now starting to stack up near Hardensburg and Litchfield. By the time we reach about 9:30, 10 o'clock here in Louisville, it'll be snowing pretty good. And most of the Commonwealth will be in the snow zone by that time, too. Southern Indiana, lighter snow, but still impactful up there because travel will be tough. Even a couple inches of snow could make, things kind of tough overnight tonight. But where you see that yellow line there, that's roughly where it's snowing to the west versus where it's not snowing quite yet to the east, but we still have some radar returns overhead, just not making it to the ground just yet.
Yeah, some folks asking a few questions. We'll pop a few on as we go along. Josh was saying, will we have big flakes with this ratio? No, these should be super fine snowflakes, very similar to what we had this morning, very powdery snow.
Yeah, powdery little snowstorm here we'll see. This will be very akin to what we had back in 2015. If you remember that big storm with a ton of just powdery dry snow.
Take a wider view of the radar, and you're going to notice the satellites overlaid there too. But the storm system that we're watching is the one just back out across the plains, moving into Missouri, northern half of Arkansas, western Tennessee, western Kentucky. That's our snowmaker, and it's forecast again on track as it moves in with that heaviest snowfall across parts of the Commonwealth. So that is still going to be the case. That's where you see those darker colors, the greater return for the radar. Will southern Indiana see snow? Yes. But is it going to be heavier to the south? Yes.
And that's the critical part. Where you live will determine how much snow you get. So we can't just say everybody gets 4 inches of snow. That's not how this works. If you're south of Louisville, you see that higher snow total. And that's why the winter storm warning has been declared for a lot of Kentucky, but not so much for Indiana here. You see those alerts.
Yeah, we're going to get into the details. Some folks are asking, did they talk about travel yet? Have they mentioned how much for my neighborhood? No, not yet. We're going over sort of the generic part of the setup of what's happening, where we have current alerts. So let's get into the specifics. We'll sort of drill down into our viewing area. We serve 34 counties, so pay attention as we roll through them here. Again, some folks still sharing this. We appreciate that. Get the word out so we don't have to repeat ourselves here. You're going to see the advisory in our northern tier of counties. That's just north of Louisville. That's Du Bois County, Crawford County, Orange County, Washington County, Floyd, Clark, Scott, Jefferson, all in Indiana. In Kentucky, Oldham, Henry, and Trimble and Carroll, all in Kentucky, under the advisory. I said yesterday when we were on here, it really doesn't matter if you're in the advisory or you're in the warning, because we're going to see very close to that 4-inch mark across the region. Now, less than 4 inches, you're in the advisory. More than 4 inches or more, you're in the warning. That's the definition from the Weather Service. But let's not get hung up on that, because the bottom line is, I think we could put a stamp on it and say 3 to 5 inches across the 34 counties that we serve, and I think we're going to be in pretty good shape. Could there be a place or two that gets 6, maybe a little more than 6 inches of snow? Well, it's possible, but most areas are going to get between 3 and 5 inches of snow. At least that's my thought.
Oh, that sounds like an easier snow map to draw than the one we have there. If we were just to do it that way. Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time on the finer details that nobody cares.
Well, we like the details. We like the precision, the best we can be.
Precision does not necessarily mean accuracy here, so we want to make sure we're giving you a precise and accurate forecast. You'll see how our forecast for the overnight pushes that snow chance all the way up to 100% around midnight or so. That looks pretty good by the radar looks of things. I think just about everybody will be under some sort of snow by then. This cuts off pretty quickly in the morning, but it'll still be snowing by 7 a.m. Even if it's light, it'll still be impactful. And I think that's a good chunk of the reason why JCPS said, we're throwing in the towel early today.
Yeah, they made that call early just because of the, it's on the way. It's on the radar. There's no stopping it. Let's just, let folks get some sleep so they can enjoy their NTI tomorrow. One thing that we'll also mention is this will be a light, fluffy snow. So good snow blower. If you just have a leaf blower, sometimes you just blow the snow off.
It's so nice to have a snowstorm without ice involved, by the way. Let me just tell you how therapeutic it is not to be showing you a freezing rain accretion map Oh, thank goodness.
Pull out the rest of the 10 hairs I have in my head.
This is such a zen storm compared to what we had in January with all that ice.
Let's talk about the Futurecast. Here we are tonight just after 11 o'clock. So it's snowing most places. Some of those heavier snow showers are to the south in blue, as you can see. So that's just where we'll see some of the heavier snow to the south. This will be pushing through the area with hazardous travel developing, because you got to recall temperatures now in the 20s will drop into the teens overnight tonight. That will exit the region by tomorrow mid-morning. I'd say 8, 9 o'clock, it's starting to move out to the east. And then we'll have a little bit of dry time in here before we bring in more snow showers later in the evening. So how much snow will we get in this first round that's coming through? Again, when you look at our map, very similar to what we saw yesterday. 2 to 4 to our north, Paoli, Salem, Jeff, Carrollton, maybe LaGrange, Madison. And then you get further north in our northernmost counties, it's 1 to 2. So that's that advisory area. It's a lower snow total, 1 to 4 inches in parts of southern Indiana. And then you get to the counties that hug the river, places like Perry, Crawford, Harrison, Floyd County, including Louisville. So we'll say areas along and south of Interstate 64. That's a good delineator. 4 to 6 inches. And then we'll take that all the way down to the Tennessee border. So because we don't have the on our snow map, we try to be precise, which means we have more categories. So there's not a 3 to 5. We break it down to just a couple of inches, and we try to be as precise as we can. So that's why Ryan was saying if we had 3 to 5, we could just stamp the whole thing and be done with it. But in this instance, because we try to be as precise as we can, you're going to get the 4 to 6 across much of the area. There could be a place or two, which is why we have that darker purple showing up, where we could see 6+ inches of snow. That would be rare. Most areas are going to see closer to 6 or less in that area.
I must say, this is only our first snow map of 2 that we're going to share with you here, because there's that second round of snow Wednesday night. Now, that's only around an inch, but that will be on top of this map right here. So we'll have 2 snow maps. They will be additive. You can add them together.
Plus what we had this morning, if you
want to. Plus what we had this morning, which was roughly an inch. And then that would be your grand total, what's in your backyard by the time we reach Thursday morning. So stay tuned. Another map to come.
Yeah, some folks still, saying, hey, how much here or there? You can find your location on the map. We can blow that up for you again. Just know that in general, it's going to be close to 3 to 4 inches for many folks. There will be a few folks south of us that see 5, maybe 6 inches of snow. That's going to be the general how this plays out, it seems, across the region. All right, let's get into the next wave that moves in. Again, the alert day in place, not just through tomorrow, but again tomorrow night and early Thursday, because of another wave of light snow, lighter snow than what we're going to see tonight, similar to what we saw earlier this morning.
Don't fall asleep on this round of snow, because if you fell asleep on this morning's round, you woke up and went, what the heck was that? Well, we had it in our forecast.
They were wrong. They got it wrong again.
And we had it in our forecast as soon as 11 a.m. yesterday. So we gave you almost 24 hours heads up on the impact of this morning. We're giving you more than 24 hours heads up on the impact that Wednesday night and early Thursday morning will have. 70% chance of snow.
Just face it. Can't you admit it when you get it wrong?
Sure. When we were actually wrong. Sure. Why not?
I love it. When we were wrong? We were wrong on Sunday.
Oh, ouch. That was not fun.
We didn't hit that one exactly. That one overperformed. We thought we might get less than an inch. We got what? 2?
Yeah, we got more than 2 inches of
Almost
snow.
3.
And the road impact with that was no fun either. That
bad timing.
Came down so hard that it overcame the warm road temperatures, and then we had some problems. So again, all of that to say, don't fall asleep on this second round, even though it's not a lot.
Yes, Brandon.
They were wrong because I didn't pay attention. Oh, yes. I'm going to frame that and put that in our weather office. I love it.
We always say, if you think we were wrong, you were watching the other station.
You were watching not Wave.
Because actually we did hit the snow this morning.
We did.
We've done well
all right.
this winter, I'll be honest.
Sunday was an exception.
To toot our own horn.
Yeah, today was fine. Hopefully the next couple systems are good for us.
Knock on plexiglass.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this Wednesday night deal, because this is impactful simply because we're going to be so cold. And with the cold temperatures and the snow coming down. It's a quick hitting little blip on the radar. It's in and out. But again, cold enough to have it stick, cold enough to have travel problems. That takes us into Thursday morning. Begs the question, what about school on Thursday? Okay, there are going to be many schools out again on Thursday, I'm sure.
Yeah, many folks asking about that in the chat, like, hey, what about Thursday, how that's going to go? And here's the deal, too. Keep in mind with these temperatures and the single digits and lower teens, the road salt effectiveness goes down. So it will be tough even for the road crews to get a handle on this thing. They'll be able to scrape it easy because it'll just be pushed out of the way. But preventing it from sticking on the road, that's going to be a much tougher task here.
So let's talk totals. Again, remember, we had us in general 3 to 5. 4 to 6 along and south of the parkways, if you want to reference our map. And then we're going to add another 1 because we have less than 1 or 1 to 2. So even that light blue area is 1 inch, could be as much as 2 inches.
Correct.
Across the region, mainly southern Indiana, back into eastern half of Kentucky. That would be added to what we get overnight tonight, early tomorrow.
And the reason I drew this the way I did here with the 1 to 2 inch band, being especially in our northern Kentucky and southern Indiana counties, is because that's closer to where the parent area of low pressure is. So you're going to have this band that cycles through that you saw in Futurecast there. It's very light, but with these high snowfall ratios, you can bust pretty hard in a big way, and meaning that you're expecting an inch, you get 2. And that's why we wanted to make sure there was a 1 to 2 in there. Some of the models starting to hint at 1+ inch totals there. But you get the idea. Eastern Kentucky, northern Kentucky, and of course, southern Indiana kind of in the crosshairs for the maximum there. Late Wednesday, early Thursday morning.
All right, I want to talk about what follows the snow, and that is some cold temperatures. We're going down back into the single digits, 5 above by early Friday morning. Some areas could get closer to 0. I mean, you see Hardinsburg 3, Litchfield 3, maybe even below 0 with a deep snowpack. If you wind up with that 6-inch total down in Litchfield, yeah, I could see 0 by early Friday morning. So bitterly cold air comes in on the backside of this. Consequently, a cold weather advisory is in place Thursday morning, and it stays cold right into Friday morning as well.
So this will be somewhat similar to the intensity of the cold that we had last month, but the longevity of the cold won't be quite as bad. There is some milder air in the forecast. We do get above freezing by probably late weekend, if not early weekend here. So we'll be able to start melting this in somewhat short order, but for the work week, it's going to stick around here. And someone said, did Brian Good say he was actually getting tired of snow? Kathy's asking that. Yes. He's like, you know what? He may have had his fill. Because it's been a lot, even for a snow lover, it's just to deal with it. Like, oh my gosh.
We're going nuts around here. If you think like parents with their kids are going crazy, I mean, we all like each other a lot, but boy, we've been spending a lot of time together this year.
More than just the 8 hours a day, 5 days a week sort of situation.
Right?
You know, we've had almost as much snow as Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Dayton, and Columbus get. So it's almost like taking Louisville and putting it like 100 miles north. That's kind of the increase in snow that we've had this season over what we typically have, which is just over a foot on average.
All right, let's get into some of the model data. I want to show you the raw model data. Again, none of these are forecasts that I'm going to show you. I will end with our forecast again. I've already shown that, but I want to show you what some of the models are spitting out for snow accumulation. And we'll take it in 2 segments. This will take us through noon tomorrow, and then we'll fast forward and add on what we expect Wednesday night and Thursday. So again, this model is the HRRR, the the high resolution model that we have. And you'll notice again, the trends are what we're looking at, where we have the highest snow total, where we have the lowest snow total. Clearly, the lower snow totals are in southern Indiana. Seymour may see nothing out of this deal, while areas to our south pick up 3-4 inches of snow.
Now, this has been trending a little lower in the most recent runs of this HRRR model here. We'll have to see how that works out. Oftentimes in high ratio, low temperature snow environments, you overachieve. So I wouldn't lock onto this trend just yet. However, I would keep an eye on it.
Here is why we would keep an eye on it, by the way, is it's the connection point that you see that darker blue. And you'll notice it's sort of broken in there in a number of places. This is the transfer of energy to a mid-Atlantic states where we expect that low to develop. Typically, this happens across our area where we bring in colder air from the north, an area of low pressure diving in that pulls up moisture from the south. We weaken it as it moves across the Ohio Valley, and then it sort of re-energizes again as it can feed off of some of the waters of the Atlantic. So what you're seeing there is a transition of sort of power where we go from a pretty substantial storm, weakening it and then building it back up. The question is, and the models have a tough time determining, will it really weaken? Will we see that transfer take place, or will it just kind of keep going and plowing through? This model is suggesting that we see the weakening trend take place and then it builds back again. We'll have to see if the next run shows that in general. But we're still looking in that general 2 to 6 inch range, right?
And that's just one piece of model data. Here's another.
Well, this is the same model, but we just added on Wednesday night, early Thursday. So you can see we added more, especially in eastern Kentucky, because by then the transfer has already occurred to our east.
Yeah, look at that 6 to 8 inch band over there as that coastal storm gets wrapped up and moves up toward the northeast. Now, this is the graph model. This is our, what we kind of call in-house model because it's from our weather graphics vendor, the weather company. It has not done great this year, just full disclosure here, but it shows a somewhat similar scenario. And you can see those 4 inch plus totals down across central Kentucky. And then we advance it to Thursday evening. And this is the grand total there, possibly, 5.5 inches Litchfield. And I think it shows kind of, at least compared to the HRRR, more of a broad spread in the snow totals instead of a sharp cutoff in southern Indiana. So that actually may be a little bit more logical than the HRRR. We'll see what happens.
And not all models do real well with the ratio that we're talking about. So we're really looking at that. And the ratio, you have to realize, isn't a finite number. It changes even throughout the duration of the storm. So we may start with a lower sort of ratio, but as the column gets colder, we increase it, which means you don't need as much moisture to create as much snowfall. So it's a complicated deal as we bring in the air mass and the moisture, right? So that's something we have to calculate and look at. The models don't always do the best. Sometimes they just make assumptions that are wrong in terms of how much that ratio would be.
Yeah, so that snow ratio is super important. This morning we only had probably a quarter to, or I should say this storm we have coming up here, we'll only have a quarter to a third of an inch of actual liquid to work with. The problem is, how fluffy is it going to be based on the temperature? This is a third piece of data called the NAM here. Notice very similar to the other two models, keeping sort of the heaviest snow to our west and then trying to blow it back up to our east there. This is the grand total, though, by Thursday at 6 p.m. It generally has sort of a 3-ish inch sort of swath across our area with the 4 inch plus kind of on either side.
And again, that's that transfer that if you've been watching Brian, he's talked about that a lot. We mentioned it yesterday. And again, the storm coming in, weakening, and then building back as it moves to our east.
Yeah, these two zones getting the most of the snow totals there.
So that's the NAM, again, starting to get broadened out. We started with the high resolution models. Now we're in the medium range models. Now let's go to the global model. This is the GFS, and you can see it too. Cranks out low totals to the north, a pretty sharp cutoff, which, we're going to see the amounts lower. But do we go from 0 to 2 inches? No, probably not. So that's a very sharp cutoff that we disagree with, which is why we've broadened that northern edge out just a bit. Temperatures are going to be cold across the entire area. And the snowfall, again, higher totals to our south. And there you see the grand total, keeping it anywhere between 4 to 5 inches of snow across central Kentucky.
Timothy has a really good question as we're showing these. These models that you're showing, are these 10-to-1 snow ratios? And the answer is no. However, they're trying to figure out what the snow ratio is and put down the totals based on its thoughts on that. That may not be entirely correct. It may be shooting a little too low. So while these models look a little less impressive than our forecast, I think the reality is going to be a little closer to our forecast than what you see here on the models. because it may be, doing a blanket like 15-1 snowfall ratio. Oops, we may have 25-1 at times. So that makes a difference here. And that's why we have seen, these super cold events often bust a little high, like what happened in 2015 when we got just an absolute boatload of snow. I don't think we'll get as much as we got back then, by the way. But this storm has the potential for a little bit of overachieving based on the snow ratio, but busting lower potentially because of that low transfer we talked about. A couple of things kind of pushing and pulling on each other here that we need to watch overnight.
So when we take a look again at the radar, we always like to see what's initializing. What's it really doing now? The models don't know that, because by the time the models make the calculation, what's happening now is, already long gone from the models. So we take a look at this and we can see that we do have pretty decent snow moving across far western parts of Kentucky. With that, Chris points out
the MD that's out.
The MD that's out, and we can read what that says to you, just so you know.
We can actually show it
to you.
Yeah.
But this is talking about from Evansville down to Bowling Green, points back across the Boot Hill of Missouri. And this is snowfall rates gradually increasing across western Kentucky through the evening. Now, rates will decrease through time, though some moderate to heavy snowfall rates from 1 inch per hour possible in those heavier bands. So this is all driven by a 700 to 800 millibar frontogenesis isentropic ascent. So we have the lift along that front that's helping out with that. So heavier bands, over 1 inch an hour, that's going to be possible. You see Ryan's put on that zone that they're sort of looking at and talking about, and that is coming to the east, but it will mainly stay across parts of central Kentucky, likely just south of Louisville for the heavier bands of snow.
These are very similar. In fact, they're the same thing as the severe weather mesoscale discussions from the SPC, where they're like, hey, we're getting ready to issue a severe thunderstorm watch or a tornado watch. They do convective snow as well, so that's why we've got one of these in blue for heavy snow potential, which is for snow lovers kind of exciting.
You like
right?
to see that pop out, like, yeah.
Whenever we get an MD for snow, I do get little like goosebumps on the back of my neck that go up, because that just reminds me of some of the previous snow events that we've had where it's like, oh, here it comes. So
it's exciting to watch.
Yeah.
So back to our snow forecast for folks that may just be jumping in. Let me show you. Again, I'm just going to keep hammering like I did yesterday. It's a general 4 to 6 inch total. There could be a few places, especially with this banding developing to our south. That's why we've drawn that purple area as sort of a identifier, or just a marker to say, hey, it could go higher in a few places. So this is an illustration that there could be a few areas to our south that get greater than 6 inches of snow. But for the most part, 6 inches will be on the high side for this deal. Now, here in Louisville, I think 3 to 5 is a good bet. I think you're going to find that some people get around 3 inches of snow in Louisville. It's not uniform everywhere. Some places may get closer to 5 inches of snow. I think if we said most areas get 4, we'd be right, give or take an inch.
And indeed, that's the first round of snow. There is a second round Wednesday night into early Thursday. Cheryl asking, is this going to cancel schools on Thursday in Louisville? It could possibly do that, even though it's quote unquote just an inch. We saw what just an inch looked like this morning and what just a couple inches looked like on Sunday morning. So it doesn't take a whole lot around here to kind of bring us to our knees when it comes to infrastructure on the roads, especially because, by the way, Thursday morning will be so cold with single digits and lower teens here. So this is the road impacts that we will likely see.
Yeah, no question. We're going to have problems tomorrow through the morning with the snow falling. So the morning rush hour on Wednesday is a really big mess. I think even in the afternoon, we have snow-covered roads. You got to remember our temperatures are going to be cold, cold, cold. So the snow is not going anywhere, and will render the treatment almost ineffective in some cases, especially in the evening and overnight hours. So too cold for salt Thursday. That's why 1 inch of snow is problematic. Temperatures will increase a bit. Not a lot, but a bit into the afternoon on Thursday, still keeping with a caution light through that time. And then again, late Friday, we see some refreezing. So to answer your question about Thursday, if you go with our road impacts, we are going to have some road problems. I suspect that NTI will be our friend for much of this week.
Oh boy, yeah, that's indeed the case there. They're using those, of course, hopefully so that you guys don't have to go to school so long into the late spring and early summer, because that's no fun for anybody.
All right, let's take a few questions and then we'll we'll take a break and come back with some river flooding information. I'll put the radar up while we're watching.
Breaking news.
This just in.
Lori says it is now snowing in Akron in Meade County. So we know, Lori, you're amazing. Thank you. We needed that. We need the eyes on the ground for this. We know now that those radar returns barely scraping into Meade, Breckenridge, now into Grayson, even western parts of Hardin, Hart, and Greene counties. That is actually resulting in snow that is touching the ground. So we need that ground truth. Lori, you are amazing. You are our viewer of the evening.
I feel like we need like a sounder for that, like breaking news, this just in.
I was going for more of the celebratory.
You were like playing taps.
Kevin was over here like, super like newsy. Super newsy. Look at this. This is the MPing reports. What is this? Meteorological Precipitation Identification Near Ground. It is an acronym. Cool, right? It's basically just the University of Oklahoma and the National Weather Service partnered up and have this project for about the last 15 years now, where you can report what kind of precipitation you're seeing at your place. So these are citizen observers from the MPing app. Just search for MPING in your app store. And when you make a report within our 34 counties, guess what? We can show it on here and on TV as well. Again, this is a publicly free available app. We do this as a public service to show these. So basically, wherever you see these little circles with the snowflakes are where we have snow reported. Now, sometimes crazy things happen and people will report things that don't exist, like Northeast Jefferson County with a snow report in the last 4 hours. Probably not true, but all of that you see in Bowling Green, all that you see just south and west of us, that is likely actually happening right now. So not sure why the Ford plant has a little snow icon.
Maybe they're like, we've got snow on the ground.
Yeah, powdered sugar spill in the kitchen. Oh, snow. MPing report. Yeah, that's not quite what that is.
All right, so some snow already moving in. So we'll have snow through it's 8:55, 9 o'clock start time. That was a good call on the fact that it's moving into the western part of the viewing area.
Landon also confirms snowing right now in Breckenridge County.
Here we go.
And Joyce does too. Thank you, Joyce. Okay, so we've got Brody, from YouTube, Storm Chaser. How do you know what the snow ratios will be?
Yeah, it's all based on temperature, right? So we know the colder it is, and let me also mention that if we have more wind, that also affects the structure of the snowflakes. It sort of shears them off. It makes the snow a little more compact. Whereas if we have less wind, the snowflake stays intact and can sort of mound up or build up higher. So there are a couple of things that go against snow totals. Wind is one. Obviously, the cold temperatures. We need it very cold to really see the light, fluffy snow. So that's what we look at. And we'll show you what the radar looks like here. And the fact is, we know what the temperature is from the surface. We're at 23 degrees in Louisville, colder in our suburbs. And as we go up in the atmosphere, we know those temperatures too, thanks to the data that we have. And it shows a very cold plume or profile of the atmosphere, which for us means light, fluffy snow. We're probably looking at anywhere between a 17 to 20 to 1 ratio with this snow. The further south you go, the temperatures come up just a bit. So we'd probably get closer to that 15 to 1 ratio.
All right, Mark says snowing potentially in Radcliffe right now. Possibly, yeah. You've got a little bit of a return right over you there, so wouldn't be shocked to hear that. Let's see, what else? What other questions do we have? Rhonda says, I don't have any questions. I just wanted to say thank you. I think that's very sweet. And we thank you, our viewers, of course, for watching this evening here. Let's see here. What else is going on in our comments section? Let's see. Trey was asking, is the snow ratio essentially the amount of moisture in the atmosphere? I'm a little confused. It's the moisture versus the temperature, really. So the moisture, how much liquid will create how much snow? It's based on temperature. The lower your temperature, the more snow you'll get out of the same amount of liquid.
Here's what we know. We can measure certain things. We can measure the amount of liquid precipitation that would come from the atmosphere, or how much precip is in the atmosphere, right? We know what that is in the liquid version. The question is, when it falls out of the cloud, what does that give us? Does it imagine if it were warm from the cloud to the ground, it would give us rain, and we would know how much because we know the amount that's in the column, right? We'd say, oh, we're going to get a 1/10 of an inch of rain. But if we have a 1/10 of an inch of liquid in the column and we're dropping it through a very cold air column of air, what does that mean? So when we're looking at a 10-to-1 ratio, that would mean if we had a 1/10 of an inch of liquid precipitation and it's a 10-to-1 ratio, that would mean we'd have an inch of snow.
Bingo.
If it's a 15-to-1, it's an inch and a half. So we have to look at how cold that column of air is. And when we get it really cold, the colder it gets, the fluffier the snow is. And that just means a higher snow total. Okay.
In that same vein, we've got Zach Fox asking on Facebook, what is the total projected precip liquid? I did some quick and dirty math in my head earlier. It was about 1/4 to 1/3 of an inch. So not much.
And that's really through the whole period.
That's the 2 rounds of snow all combined.
Yeah. So, we're looking for tonight anywhere between 0.17 and 0.25. But again, if we're at a 20-to-1 ratio, that's still up to 5 inches of snow, right?
Carrie's got an interesting thing. He says it's like popcorn. How big will the kernel pop? Extra O in popcorn there. Whoops. Then we've got, whoopsie. Oh, that was fun. How wild, ooh, that's good. How wild is March looking already? I did look at some of that data today.
You've looked at a lot of data.
I have. Well, that's what happens when you get an active weather like that. And it looks like we're going to be cold through the first 2 weeks of March. You'll have some warmer periods mixed in, but there's going to be some shots of exceptionally cold air through about mid-March, and there could be snow as those move in and out. So we'll see how that goes. But after mid-March, we might finally start to see more of a spring-like pattern. We'll see how that goes.
I always love questions like this. Laura wants to know why we never mentioned Lebanon, Kentucky. Well, listen, Laura, half of my family, and I come from a big family. My mom's the oldest of 13. They all live in Marion County. So I mention Lebanon all the time. I don't know if you're watching Wave, but the bottom line is if I've been to St. Mary's or if I've been over to my brother owns Loretta Foodland down there, for goodness sake. So we're mentioning Loretta and Lebanon all the time because that's where my family is. So,
and we were in the Ham Days parade. I mean, for goodness sake, where were you?
So we do mention Lebanon. Yeah. Sorry, we haven't mentioned it today, but it is on our map there, as you can see.
Yeah, Lebanon's important to us, the Lebanon Springfield area. Hello to you folks down there. Beautiful part of Wave Country, God's country down there.
I always like it when people say, why don't you ever mention it? Well, the fact is, there are some towns we don't mention because maybe we've never heard of them. Maybe they're not on the map. Maybe we've never been there. But
Lebanon ain't one of them.
That's not one. All right. So welcome to Wave.
Oh, that's funny.
Here's Tom. Tom's like, sharpen your shovels. Oh. Let's go. I threw out a little salt in the weather garden, by the way.
Oh, good for you. Yeah, we need safety in there.
And we've got a shovel and more salt on standby so we can get to our snowboard.
And thankfully,
by
this
the
isn't
way,
like
have you seen the snowboard?
Snow, by the way. It'll be kind of light and fluffy. But this is our new branded, patented Wave snowboard.
No snow to report downtown. Ooh, maybe we'll see that increase as the night wears on.
Oh, it's always fun.
Bryce Shoemate saying good evening, and we say good evening right back to you. And here's Tyler. How did we not get any thunder snow during this wacky winter season? I feel like we did. Yeah, we did have a little thunder snow.
Oh, yeah, we had thunder snow. Right. Not everybody heard it, by the way, or saw it, so that's why.
Right. Alan Jones, big weather fanatic, a good friend. He says he always goes on. He and Brian would get along real well, right? I mean, they love snow. I'm like, I think I've had enough. But if it's going to be, here, I just assume it'd be a big snow than just like a couple of inches because
it makes it worth your while.
It's the
maybe.
Same thing. Yeah. So Alan's his forecast 8 inches of snow. All right. Yeah,
I have been coffee free for about 12 hours.
Maybe Diet Mountain Dew for me.
Okay.
I've been on the Diet Coke today.
That I believe, yes.
Yeah, I'm not a coffee fan.
I like coffee.
You do?
That was a pandemic thing. I did not like coffee until
drink coffee here.
I drink it in the mornings because if I drink it here, I'll be wired and going to that restroom over there every 5 seconds. But yeah, pandemic is when I start drinking coffee.
Chris is like, I'm over the whole snow thing, way over it. Yeah, you're not alone.
Snow over it, snow MG. Let's get all this out of our system while we can here.
Snowing in Sonora.
Oh, wow.
Down in parts of LaRue County.
The radar barely showing anything there. So now what this is telling us is that the atmosphere is moistening up pretty well, so that even the super light rain or snowfall returns on the radar here are putting down actual snow that you'll get to see here. So in Louisville, let's do a little radar math here. It looks like by about 10 p.m. or just before, we'll really start to see the snow come down here in the city, maybe 9:30, 9:45.
You can see it from the storm tracker on Wave News at 11 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. We're excited.
I want to go where Joyce is. 75 degrees with a cool breeze, please.
This isn't a drive-through window, although we do take tips.
That'd be nice.
And so does everybody else these days.
All right.
Ready to start seeding and spraying my lawn. I am too. They got all the garden stuff out at the hardware stores and the big box stores. It smells like fertilizer in there. And it's just like, snowing at Custer from our friend John Bettner, longtime Wave fan.
Thank you, John. Appreciate the reports always. All right. Yeah. Not holding back. Yeah. Sorry. I kind of got, I think it's because we're like in the fatigue mode, when I get tired, I get a little cranky sometimes. And yesterday I really gave it to Beverly, who jumped in and asked like a question. And because I guess I didn't see the question, it was like, they're not answering my question. I'm going to go watch XYZ. And I'm like, you know what? I'm doing my best here. All right. I'm punching 19 buttons. I'm like trying to land the plane safely over here. That might not be a good analogy.
Yeah, not good. We have 2 keyboards, by the way, that control all this, 2 mouses, a whole panel full of buttons.
And an iPhone.
Yeah, I can't lift up the Stream Decks here, but all this stuff is like super high tech consumer electronics-y stuff here. So we got to control it all ourselves.
It's all plugged in. It's working now. That's what we know.
And the amazing part is you can buy these Stream Decks at like Target now. Like the streaming stuff, like the Twitch streamers and the YouTubers, like it's everywhere now.
Sir Kodo says, I like Feisty Kevin.
Oh, Feisty Kevin. Oh, that's the nickname we got to use for
right.
I like that. Feisty Kevin.
I didn't mean to put that up again. Well,
how about 3 times? How about 4?
There we go. That's how many were coming in. I was trying to like boom, catch up.
Yeah.
Felicia, thank you. Thank you for saving us. Can you believe it's only Tuesday?
Congratulations, it's Tuesday.
All right. Tom is on Snow Watch down in the ridge, so let's see if
soon.
Soon should be rolling in. Light snowflakes in Mount Washington already.
Wow. They got that little streak on radar. I wouldn't be shocked.
Wow. How about some, what'd that say? Behind the scenes tour someday.
Oh, we can do that.
Yeah, that's easy. I mean, it's not a lot different than what you're seeing.
Yeah, not much to see. Here, I'll spin my camera around or Kevin's camera if you want to see what it looks like in here. It's
I'm trying to give him a view.
There you go.
All right.
There we go. So now we'll spin around. You can see
this is how close we're sitting.
And then I'll zoom it out too so you can see.
We're like in a fishbowl. Those are windows.
There we go. Oh, this is fun. Now you can really see everything. And so as this turns all the way around, you'll see that it's basically just an office.
Let us out.
And we can't show you too much because that wall that this camera is on is over top of all the monitors that we can see. So really, it's just kind of this big sort of desk. This is an old news desk of ours from the 2010s, if you recognize it here. And that's about it. There's actually not a lot to this room aside from the nice set of 4 monitors behind us. We have a lot of lighting in here, which is nice. And then these 2 mics, and then we have 3 computer screens. These are all touch screens, but we end up using the cameras more than anything there.
All right.
Oh, you're good. Yep.
You'll fix your camera.
Oh, yeah. There. It's being fixed right now, and I got to keep it up to fix it. So you're good. It's kind of fun because, you're not only like a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer here, but sometimes we fight over the buttons because we all know how to do everything in here. So it's like, who's going to do what? There we go.
Perfect.
And we're back. Just like it never happened.
Leave my hands off of it. Sarah says, make a TikTok. That's one thing we're not on. Like we have a lot of social media accounts and TikTok. We don't have TikTok.
No, we're not really on TikTok.
Watching from J-Town. No snow here yet, according to Maureen. Thank you. How much snow is expected in Middletown, and how much slick spots on the roads tomorrow you expect? Well, I think that 3 to 5 inches is good in Middletown, and I think that tomorrow morning it's going to be slick. And depending on how fast they treat it or can clear it, the roads could be slick for a while. So all that depends on things that I don't have the answer to. But I think that that's a pretty decent answer. Now, here's Mike's question. And he had this a couple of times. Did we answer this?
No,
I saw it earlier.
Yeah, no, you haven't.
Unrelated question. During a tornado warning in Louisville, who makes the final decision to sound all the tornado sirens? Does someone push a button or something to turn on all of the outdoor sirens? Well, the Weather Service issues the warning, and then Metro Safe, or the Emergency Management Division of Jefferson County, are the ones that sound the sirens. So that's why we have the Lens alert, and people can get that same alert through their phone or through the outdoor sirens.
So there is kind of an intermediary between NWS and those sirens. They don't turn them on. It's Metro Safe here in Louisville. And in most counties surrounding us, by the way, it's your emergency management agency for that county, like Floyd County or Clark County EMA, for instance.
All right. There's Joe saying flurries in E-Town. We've got the radar up, so that's going to be the key, is finding those darker blues. Those are the heavier snow bands. We could see ½ inch up to an inch an hour if we can get those darker bands to develop across the area.
Woo.
Yeah.
Exciting for those snow lovers, I'll tell you what.
Joyce is in here. She says she used to watch Tom Wills every night. She says she's 73 years old. I have seen all kinds of weather, from blizzards to tornadoes. No question about that.
Yes, you have. Oh
Felicia,
my gosh.
suddenly 7, waiting for the snow to start. And if only work would scroll on the bottom of the screen, right? Yeah, exactly.
If Wave ever appeared in the business closings at
That
the
would
bottom
be
of the
nice.
screen, I would be like, excuse me? It would probably just be the sales department, though.
yeah, they'll take off the rest of the weekend.
There was an evacuation in the building, and it was just the sales department. It was about 4:30 this afternoon. We love our sales department, by the way.
I guess they do pay the bills.
They pay the bills, and they're pretty good at what they do. They're very good.
All right.
They work more typical schedules than we over here in news and weatherland do. So sometimes we play with them because they're like, oh, I worked from 8 to 4 today. And we're like, oh, okay, cool.
Right. Flurries in Shepherdsville from Elizabeth. Thank you.
Well, so that's the second Bullitt County report. So definitely snowing in Bullitt County.
I'm going with Jamie Greger here. Kevin, they need to triple your pay.
Oh.
Yeah. Can you all send an email to that effect?
Yeah. Heck, I'll do it for double.
Right. Yeah. Anything would be good. It has been a year, though. You know, I remember, what was it, like 2012, 2013, maybe 2014. That was a long stretch, too, because we went out of severe weather right into a busy winter season.
That was the winter
of
13, 14.
Yeah. So we had just come out of the tornado season that was terrible.
Yeah. And that was the year 2013 when the term polar vortex was like popularized in the media.
Yeah.
So we had to deal with everyone asking, what's the polar vortex? Is the polar vortex coming to my backyard? That sort of thing. And it's like,
yes, it is. It's coming to a town near you.
Polar vortex always exists, by the way. It's around the North Pole and the South Pole. There are 2 polar vortices, plural of vortex, and basically chunks of it break off and head down toward Canada, and we get under the influence.
It's nothing new.
It isn't.
It's just that's what they decided to start calling it.
It's been around for about 4.3 billion years, but some reporter in New York City or Los Angeles discovered it in 2013, so I had to tell him.
And then like a year later, they're like, so, it's probably some, kid. So you would call that like an atmospheric river?
Oh.
Yes. Okay, well, we'll call it that.
An atmospheric river is hitting Portland, Oregon. Oh.
It hasn't happened yet, but it could happen tomorrow. Remember that?
Oh, I do remember that. On a certain channel with a blue box on it.
What?
Yeah. So funny.
Okay.
So funny. People love extreme.
Back to the weather. Questions from you. This is why we're here. This is what we do all day anyway. If you want it behind the scenes, you're getting it. Like when Ryan and I are in the office, we're not quite this close, but we each have our own workspace. And Brian Brian's in the studio a lot when I'm here because of our shifts. But when he's not, he's across the desk. And we're just all a big bunch of goofballs, really.
I feel bad. We make Brian move around to different workstations because as we come in, we displace him to another workstation.
Get out of my seat.
So he has like 4 different computer workstations he works from every day. We need like one more workstation in there to give him like a permanent home.
We have 4.
We have 3 in there and a 4th on the set. So yeah. The 4th, by the way, is where our printer is. So you could sit there and just watch the printer all day.
I essentially should just do that. That would be great. I'd just be like, oh, well, we got another sheet. All right. How plowable will the snow be?
exceptionally plowable. You'll be able to push it out of the way with a broom. So easy.
I charge the leaf blower. I'm just going to try
That'll
to
be fun.
blow it off before you step on it.
And I've got one of those electric snow shovels now that basically just kind of sweeps the snow out of the way.
Oh, have you used it yet?
Yes, I did use it. I posted a video actually of it, and it worked great. You just have to, it throws the snow forward. So you always have to make sure you're kind of doing the snow horizontally so the snow gets thrown into the grass and not to the rest of your driveway.
Oh, yeah, that would be a pain because then you'd be.
Yeah, so it doesn't shoot it out
deeper.
the side, it does it forward.
Okay.
That's what I had to learn.
Joe says it's coming down pretty good in E-Town now. Appreciate that. Chris Bowles says Belsky called. He's ready for another YouTube. Yeah, we got to get him on. I talked to him earlier today, in fact. So he always gets excited for the winter weather as well.
Oh,
so
how fun.
I'm sure
right? Our old
he and his wife, Lynn, will have their snowblower out, I'm sure.
With pleasure, by the way. He enjoys that.
Let's see here. Here we go. Alan again.
There's that 2013.
2013, very snowy and cold.
Yeah.
Never practiced on the field till mid-March. Alan coaches softball for Ballard. So
that was a tough winter. Tough winter.
Yeah. Nothing in the South End yet. Thank you, Karen. Appreciate that.
You're within minutes of seeing it.
This is one of my classmates, Nicole Kelly.
Oh, hi,
Wheatley.
Nicole.
Most entertaining meteorologist ever.
Oh, thank you.
Just when we're lacking sleep, Nicole, as you know.
I thought the bar was pretty low if you think we're entertaining.
Oh, I didn't know where you were going when you said the word bar.
Oh.
I thought, well, we could be the most entertaining.
But
from the bar that's been lowered.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like a brass horizontal bar.
I got you.
Where you go find water and soft drinks.
All right. Let's see. Here's Dave asking, I know the all-time record low in Louisville. What was and when did it occur?
1994. It was January 1994.
Right after the big snow that fell then.
22 degrees below zero. And the statewide for Kentucky, the Commonwealth record, was also set that morning in Shelbyville. And I believe that was 36 below zero out in Shelby County, January 1994. There you go.
I like the other jokes, people. I don't know if we can show them or not. Why not? Polar Vortex, Tim Skis, previously known as my ex-mother-in-law.
Woo!
Blakely, is there a little bourbon in that coffee? Yeah. Is that what's in your coffee?
Stone cold. No.
Snowing in Hodgenville. Here's the update from LaRue County. Sound the alarms. Glad you did. All right. Connie,
I come with sound effects.
Thanks for keeping us updated.
You're welcome, Connie.
Will snow? This is a good question.
Oh,
sorry, we're having fun. It's 9:50.
But we're dipping in and out of serious and fun.
What else we got to do?
Yeah. Good question.
Will the snow have a big impact on the river, the McAlpin lower? I'm going to show you those totals coming up in a second. Yeah. And a big impact, no, but an impact, yes, because obviously it melts. And the snow, if we get a heavy snowpack in the northeast that melts, that comes down river. So that also impacts us. A lot of that's dependent on timing. Yes. So I'll roll through that when we show you the 10-day. That is coming up. We should probably get close to that. Let's swing through these quickly, and then we'll get to that. Here comes the next one. I'm just going to use a leaf blower since the snow is not sticking. Good idea. That's what I hope to do too. That way the dog can go out,
Oh, right. Got to make sure our pets can actually go to the bathroom in this mess, right?
Sarah says, can't wait till the snow goes away and can bring out the John Deere for mowing. When can that happen? Love you guys.
At this rate, April or May.
Right. Gonna have to
maybe late March.
Have to get a plow for the John Deere.
Get that plow attachment for the front there.
Super late to the game here. Amanda says, what's the snow totals updates looking like? Let's just say 3 to 5 across much of the area. Amanda, 3 to 5, slightly higher totals in some places to our south.
We've been on long enough that people are asking for the snow map again.
All right. Snowing pretty good in Meade County.
Lori was the viewer of the day with our first snow report in Wave Country, by the way. Hello, Lori.
All right. Sandy's like, snow map. Okay. It is the number one question we get. How much snow?
It's like going to the drive-through window. Can I get a snow map, please?
There it is. You ask. My pleasure.
I got some waffle fries with this snow map, please.
Can I get one of those delicious milkshakes that you have?
Goodness. That's why I had 15 pounds more on me in college, was those milkshakes.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
I had never lost it. In fact, I keep gaining. Here is the snow map. You can see in general, we have it painted as 4 to 6. I really would be more comfortable with 3 to 5, but we'll say 4 to 6. It's close enough. coming down good. This is the Falls of the Rough.
Falls of the Rough there. Woot, woot.
And there we go. Thank you very much, Alicia.
Oh, Cody's got a good question. Why are my weather apps showing I'm only getting a dusting to an inch? I'm in Campbellsville. I know I'm getting way more than that. Yes, you're getting way more than that. Trash the crap app, all right? Get the Wave Weather app because it's going to have the... You never heard that before?
No, that's funny.
That's a James Spann-ism from Birmingham, Alabama there. He calls them crap apps, because they're all just automated data that doesn't understand snow ratios or ice or so many complexities that you kind of have a human intervention on here. So make sure you get the Wave Weather app. And we have hard-coded our snow totals into the text of the forecast. So if you tap the day and you see the text in there, it'll tell you what your snow total will be in your zone of wave country. That
we spend more time on that app, by the way, than anything we do throughout the day. That's the important part, because when you go down and you can click on daily, you can sort of break out those days and see paragraphs of what we type. That's handy. That's very good information.
It's the same stuff you see on Wave Weather Now, the 24/7 part of our local weather live stream that you're likely watching right now. That text shows up at the bottom of the screen and on these panels every about 10 minutes or so. Ryan called it. Oh, that's the first time I've heard that.
All right, we've got Radar Omega.
Oh, that's a good one.
Tech.
I've used that before while storm chasing. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
The Ring doorbell confirms flurries in Okolona near the Snyder. Nothing happening in Salem, not yet. All right.
Oh, we've got the Radar Omega versus Radar Scope wars. For you weather nerds out there,
I like Radar Scope.
Those are the two big ones. I like Radar Scope too. I think it's just because that was the first one. We're super familiar with it. They've got subscriptions we're hooked into now, and they've added some good features.
Snowflakes, Ring camera, South End, snowing good and Falls of Rough again. So there we have it. All right. I tell you what, I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little flooding, and then we'll loop back into the snow if we need to. All right. So let's take a quick break. I'm going to reset the graphics so we can have the latest river levels for you, and give us just 1 minute and we will be right back.
We'll be back.
Back with you here. We've got the flood maps ready to go. You can see even from this view of the Ohio River, it's a little on the high side. It's already encroaching the Great Lawn, parts of New Albany, also seeing some of the rising waters from the Ohio.
Right. The Ohio takes a lot longer to rise than the smaller rivers, so we haven't seen the crest yet, but we have already seen some of the crests on our smaller rivers, like of course, the Rolling Fork down in Boston. We can pop that up there. You can see right now it's in major flood stage. But it is expected, of course, to continue to go down over the next little bit.
I'm going to show you that in just a second. Let's go through the McAlpin upper and lower gauges. A lot of folks have interest along that. Obviously, if you've been on River Road, you've seen how high the water is. If you've been to Cunningham's or Dark Star, or, well, they've changed the name now. It's Harrods Creek Tavern, I guess, or the all of a sudden I've lost my captain's quarters. I've been there many times. You can see that river level is coming up still. So we're at 26.06 feet. Forecast to go up about another 2.5 feet. So it's going to continue to climb there. When we see water get that high, here are some of the issues that we have over 23 feet.
And we're already seeing that sections of River Road are closed from 3rd Street to 8th Street. You can't make a right turn onto River Road from the I-64 West ramp, getting off of 3rd Street there. Eifler Beach, Juniper Beach cut off, parts of Campbell Street, Frankfurt Avenue, Mockingbird Valley closed. We were running stories today about MSD starting to put some of the flood walls in these areas. It's already coming up that much.
And let's take a look at the lower gauge. Again, 57.5 is where we stand, going up to 59.8 by tomorrow, or as we approach maybe even the day after tomorrow. So tomorrow's Wednesday, Thursday, but it pretty much holds flat at about 4 feet above flood stage, both on the upper and the lower through the balance of the week.
And it should be noted that these are the highest levels that we've seen since 2021. So it's not a huge historic thing, but you'll notice even at 55 plus feet on the McAlpin lower Parks and Riverfront areas in Clarksville and New Albany flood, some yards along 31W from Dixie Highway, really, from Pleasure Ridge Park to West Point, Kentucky flood. So even the western side of Jefferson County has some impact.
Now let's talk about Boston. They were hardest hit. This was in major flood, still there. So forecast to come back down at this point. So it's already reached its crest in Boston. Still in major flood at 46.9 feet. And again, it's going to take a little while to slide back out of the flood. When we are in that major flood, we have problems. So we're still over 45 feet, which means houses in the low-lying areas down in Boston. And we have a family farm down there near Lyon Station. And I grew up along the banks of the Rolling Fork. Who am I? I'm not even making sense.
My name
tonight.
is Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens, along the Mississippi River. Now.
Yes. Anyway, whatever. Yada, yada, yada. High water. Stay safe. Don't turn around. Don't drown. Whatever. But the bottom line is along the Rolling Fork, I've seen it out of its banks many times. Down in Boston. I feel bad for those folks because I know how much work it is to have to raise everything up, and then the cleanup is a mess.
And this is the highest crest that we've seen on that gauge near Boston, I believe, since 2010. So this is a pretty significant flooding down there. Whenever you see that purple major, it makes your eyes bug out, and it should, because that means the impacts are major for folks in that area, having to divert around it and, of course, get their homes, businesses, and roads kind of out of harm's way.
All right, I'm putting the 10-day up just to show you we have the alert day for our Wednesday. That is because of the snow and the morning issues that will come with that. Obviously, our snow chances overnight are kicking in now and will reach their peak just around or after midnight. And then that snow chance tapers off through the early to mid-morning hours. I'd say by 9, 10 o'clock, we start to taper that snow chance down, but not before we see at least accumulating snow. So let's go through one more time the Futurecast.
Okay, so you see by 11 p.m., everybody's seeing snow around here. We'll advance it again here, and you'll notice that the temperature continues to be very low in the teens. The heaviest snow just south of Louisville here. It gets out of here by about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, but we're going to let the timing go until noon just because these little streamers of flurries can continue behind this. So we do get some dry time tomorrow, but this is round number 1 of snow here. You'll see roughly near 4 inches of snow here in Louisville. Gets a little higher down to our south. So that's round number 1. Round number 2 is Wednesday night and early Thursday
And that comes in early Thursday. Again, we'll keep the alert day through 9 a.m. on Thursday. Temperatures are very cold, single digits for some and low double digits for the rest. We're going to notice that the 60-70% chance ramps up around the midnight hour and then eases back during the early morning time frame. But whatever we put down on the ground is going to stick around. You can see on the radar view, it's a quick blip, and then it's in and out, but still some travel issues. That would be around an inch of snow possible early Thursday. All right. So that's what we have going on in terms of the 10-day earliest alert. I'm going to put our alerts back up on the map.
Yeah, I'm just getting that they've updated the, looks like the winter storm warning potentially here. It doesn't necessarily look like any big changes, but an Apple Watch screen is only yay big. So there it is. Now you can see, I don't think they made any like actual changes to the.
See, oddly, I have a winter weather advisory that just came out for Jefferson County. So I'm wondering if did they downgrade us? I don't have my.
Here, I'm looking at it
Let
now.
me look at
Yeah, so we're trying to figure out what's going on here. See, the problem is when we're not in the weather office, and it's scrolling across the screen too, meaning they've definitely made an update of some type here. Let's see here.
Well, you'll get it here first because it's just now hitting everything.
Data
which is
feed
why you heard
issues a winter weather advisory here. Where is that? Winter weather advisory in effect from 3 p.m. Central, which is 4 p.m. So 4 p.m. Wednesday to
this is
7
going
a.m.
to be past
Thursday.
that
This is
for the Thursday morning round.
This is round number 2 here. So they've issued a winter weather advisory for that. The reason you don't see any change here on the map is because the winter storm warning is covering that up because it takes precedent over the winter weather advisory. That's a slightly lower sort of designation there. So we now have a winter weather advisory for Wednesday evening into very early Thursday morning because of round number 2. This is not necessarily new information that there's going to be a round number 2. This is basically the National Weather Service getting within the period that they can issue an advisory.
Yeah, they're just catching up to make sure they have their advisories out. Our advisories are like the alert days. We just say, okay, boom, stamp it, alert day, it's done. We did that for this morning. Remember the 3 rounds this morning, tonight, early Wednesday morning, and then Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. 3 impactful times. That's really all you need to know. Now the Weather Service has alerts that have covered all of those. We had the winter weather advisory this morning. We've got the winter storm warning for tonight and early tomorrow. And now, just now being issued, the winter weather advisory for late Wednesday into early Thursday.
Bingo. So
Okay.
those are the periods you need to pay attention to here.
It can get confusing because sometimes when we're right on the edge, they change things. Just like we went from the advisory to the warning. I just wanted to see what the update was from the Weather Service.
Just want to make sure they didn't have anything that was going to impact you. But at this point, nothing that's earth shattering, which is good.
Snowing in Hodgenville. Appreciate you down there. Now near the Lincoln Jamboree. You ever been to the Lincoln Jamboree?
I've never been to the Lincoln Jamboree.
I used to go get soft serve ice cream at the Abe. It's like an old kind of a store, country store. Abe's Market, Abe's something. I can't remember it.
There's always an ice cream story with Kevin. He loves ice cream. Every
true.
story from his childhood and
it makes you happy.
Ice
I don't
cream
care how
somewhere.
bad of a day I'm having. If somebody were just like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Here's an ice cream. I'd be like, whoop, I am great again.
If you,
In fact, Laura Adams, who's been in the room, she
yes.
sent us ice cream. That was delicious.
that was so
wasn't it?
nice. Thank you, Laura. The cookies were good too.
Oh my gosh, I
Those were
know.
delicious.
Yes, they were good. That icing, right?
The icing
Yeah.
tasted good. I love mint chocolate, so there was a lot of mint chocolate involved. But yes, if Kevin Harned ever became lactose intolerant, it would be the apocalypse.
You just need to give me ice cream to make me happy. Oh, wait a minute.
Lincoln's Lodge, Kelly says.
Oh, Abe's Market. No,
Oh,
that's
Abe's
it.
Market.
Abe's Market.
Ah,
Yeah,
there
you
we
got
go.
it. Yeah, there was Lincoln's Lodge.
Yeah.
That's good times. That reminds me. No snow in Hillview. All right. Well, it will be before long. And I'll tell you another good place down there. By the way, now that I'm thinking about the Sweet Shop. Have you ever been there?
I've never been.
Well, you've had their food because I brought it in. They make that fudge from the state fair.
Oh, yeah. I know what it is.
Oh,
Okay,
their caramel apples.
Yeah.
Their toffee.
Okay.
Their chocolate candies. Their fudge. They have ice cream too. It's right on the court square there, right on the square
Oh, my God.
in
That
Hodgenville.
sounds amazing.
Yeah.
We have
it
to go
is-
down
it
to
is
Hodgenville
amazing.
and party down there with all the sweets. I love
Oh
it.
my gosh. Lincoln
Sounds good.
days. Take me home.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. What else are we looking at?
Tiny Flakes in Fern Creek from Rosalind on YouTube.
Carrie was asking, are those numbers that we showed on
Oh.
the rivers the total depth of the
No.
river?
No, okay, so river gauges are super screwy and make no sense because they're from like the 1800s, a lot of these gauge depths. So they're very arbitrary. Don't read into the absolute numbers of that. It's the relative numbers to where the stages are that you need to pay attention to. The river is not 55 feet deep at the lower gauge, for instance. That's just, again, arbitrary mark on like an underwater ruler that they had in like the 1900s that we still have to use today. That's all it is.
All right. Will it be ice or snow? It's just snow. So that's the
Purely
good news.
snow. Thank goodness.
How much are we going to get? Haley wants to know in Bardstown.
Look at
Well,
your
you can see
screen.
in Bardstown, we have it in the 4 to 6 inch range.
If there was to be some isolated higher totals, maybe toward you, maybe just to your south there. Lower confidence on that.
Connie says, when's Lebanon going to get snow? Wait a minute. We don't mention Lebanon on this channel. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm teasing. I'm teasing. Lebanon is going to get snow, and you're in that line where you could see a decent snow, but should start there within, I'd say, the next hour, hour and a half.
That's about right. If not sooner, because it's getting in here pretty quickly. it looks
The
like.
snow has started in Valley.
All right, so that means that Jefferson County is involved with the snow. There we go.
Oh, Big Nita's cheesecakes. That's what I'm talking about. I need a cheesecake. I do have a cooking.
This
I do have a cooking
This
show.
has devolved into an ad for local business.
Perfect.
That's fine.
What else? I mean, why not, right?
It's adorable, and I love it. Yes,
We
and
will
it's
be-
making me hungry. by
We
the
will
way,
be
too.
tasters.
It's just so funny. I love it.
Oh, now you've confused.
So how deep is the river then? Well, it ain't
goodness.
55 feet. I can tell you.
We don't know.
I don't know. Call the U.S. Geological Survey. They deal with that, or the Army Corps of Engineers. They deal with that too. Those are the two river folks you need to contact.
Angela says her Taylorsville, her camera's picking up snow. Does no one go to the window anymore? Are we all just like, is it just like, well, I better see if it's snowing. Let me check my ring cam.
So two rants there. One, everybody checks their ring cam. And two, whenever we get photos of snow, it's always people's patio furniture. It's like, oh, look at my snow-covered patio furniture, which is great, by the way. We love your photos and we want you to keep sending them. But it's so funny. Everybody just wants to go up to the window and like, cool, click, send it on the Wave Weather app or post it to the Wave Facebook page. And I've got my snow done. So if you happen to put on your boots, please share with us, snap some photos and share with us some photos from out in your yard, not close to your patio
I'm like, oh my
furniture.
gosh, there's an animal in my yard. Look,
What is that?
it's the
It's a
dog.
cat? Oh, it's a
that's
dog.
What's going on? That was
He's
crazy.
not kidding, by the
I
way.
was,
I was
just,
like, whoa,
I was just looking to
is
see if
that?
I had snow falling. I do not.
well, you've got a dog now.
Ring camera. Yeah, now
Ring cameras are wonderful, aren't they?
I looked out the window, security light to see if it's snowing. There you go. That's
All
why
right.
I always used to.
Yes.
I remember being a kid. I'd find that light and just
Yep.
look.
Street light.
Come on.
We got a
come
street
on.
light. I can always look at it from my bedroom. It's always fun.
All right. Listen, it's 9:30. We've got to wrap this up. As much fun as
We've
we're
been
having.
on here for an hour and 20 minutes.
Have
guys.
we really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's like a feature-length cartoon film. That's how long we've been on.
right.
Pixar movie.
All right. Any final questions before we let you go? We'll wait. Did you watch any of the Saturday Night Live stuff? by the
I
way?
watched about 90% of it
Oh, you
because I DVR'd it and they went late. So
Oh yeah.
it cut off like the last 5 or 10 minutes. So I missed the end.
That's
So I
the
got to
only-
find that on YouTube.
That's the only part I saw. I have been waiting literally for probably 2 months
Oh my
to
gosh.
see this.
Yes. It's so cool.
First of all, I thought it was going to be on Saturday night,
It was Sunday.
not Sunday.
It was Sunday on NBC.
And then I knew it was going to be on over that weekend, but I was busy in Bardstown with my dad
Yes.
for part of the weekend. And then I came back to work on Sunday. I had no idea. I mean, I was here the whole day. I was on here, in fact, talking
Yeah.
about the weather.
Yep.
I was so busy, I had no idea what was actually on our air. And I get in the studio at 11 o'clock, right before 11, and they're like, oh, hey, we're going on late. Saturday Night Live, SNL's 50th anniversary is on, and they're running late. And I'm like, wait a minute. This has been on all night? They're like, oh, yeah, it's been hilarious.
From 8 to 11, it was a 3-hour special that went long.
I missed it all. So consequently, the last couple of mornings, I've been going back on their YouTube page
Yes.
and watching the individual clips. It is funny.
It was
A lot of
pretty funny. Yeah, they brought back so many of the old cast. I love that.
So what made me think of that was when I said, we'll wait for your final comments here. I was thinking, talk amongst yourselves.
Talk amongst yourselves. Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Also,
a little bit clamped.
Sweater weather. Sweater weather.
Sweater weather.
I love that they brought both of those characters into the same sketch. That was cool.
All right, Cameron, here you go.
He's always got the most profound questions.
Yeah, here it is. So higher snow ratios, back to the ratio confusion of the world, mean fluffy snow, and lower means the wet snowman snow.
Yes.
Is the ratio what determines partially accumulations?
Yeah, it's like, is the ratio part of what you do to determine accumulation? Yes,
yeah, for
it's,
sure.
it's like almost everything we do. If it's low snowfall ratios, like 8 to 1, it's super wet, sloppy snow. That's just going to be like a heart attack snow, hard to shovel. It's super heavy. Whereas this high ratio snow, a lot more snow, but it's all powdery, a lot easier to scoot out of the way and to shovel. And that's why this isn't as big of a deal from a please don't have a heart attack when shoveling snow standpoint compared to what we had last month when you had ice and sleet and all sorts of mess and super wet snow in it. This is a dry snow, as we call it.
And of course, the ever living question, could the snow still shift north? Well, it's pretty much on the radar.
Yeah, it's
I
gonna be
think
hard.
most places are going to get this, in general, the same amount. Let's just paint the whole area 3 to 5 with the exception of our northern Indiana counties. Everybody gets 3 to 5. I think that's where we're going to be.
That's about right.
I may make this snow map easier for now. I might go circle it all, 3 to 5. That's when we'll get the memes. Oh, they're saying 1 to 50 inches.
I can guarantee we'll get between 0 and 100 inches of snow tomorrow. Guaranteed.
Snowing lightly in Mount Washington, beautiful Bullitt County.
Oh, hello.
Can you all stream with Carson as well? I feel like it'd be full chaos.
If we had 3 people on here,
Yeah.
I'd actually have to make a third box in this like little thing you see us in with the 3 different boxes.
Speaking
You have to
of
put him
our
in that.
third box,
Oh,
let's check. Do we have any snow on the snowboard?
Negative.
No, we don't.
Negative, Ghost Rider. The pattern is full. Sorry.
No, we don't. We'll watch this all night. In fact, I bet if we just pop this up on Facebook
We should live stream it.
and just watch it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Things that make you go,
How can we do that? Yeah, we can.
Literally from just in here. Just set it up. Boop.
Why would we not?
Why wouldn't we? We will.
And
Let's
we
do
will.
it.
And consider that done. You can watch
Works
with
and
us
done.
with the official Wave snowboard. It's one of a kind. There are no others.
And we'll put it only on social because if we put it on Wave Weather now, people needing to see the radar would be a little iffy about that. But we'll definitely put it on like YouTube and Facebook and X and all that. That'd be fun.
And maybe we can even put maybe we can put a clip of it in our Wave Weather Now stream. You know what I mean? We'll create a slate that is that feed from the Weather Garden.
We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, I think we can do that. There we are. Can't even imagine with adult beverages. Oh, it would get rowdy. There's no question. Really, it would be Brian that's the rowdy one on that.
That's funny.
We're still waiting. Let's just sit here and watch this snowboard.
Oh my gosh.
We still have no snow. This could be a Saturday Night Live skit of its own.
Could be.
Right here.
It could be, yes.
Is Ryan the official graphic guy?
Yeah.
Listen, there's no question about that. Ryan is the graphic guy.
Maybe to a fault sometimes. A little too picky on graphics. maybe.
In fact, he would be upset at himself for
yes.
doing that because it wasn't the Alert Day brand.
Sorry about that.
Ryan is the best at graphics. So here's what I always say. Gather in here a minute. I want to brag on our team because I always talk about our team. And you know, when we look at teams across the country, I lead a lot of things within our company thanks to the team that we have, right? And it's because we do things a little differently. Everybody's not good at just everything. So we don't have just a little bit of everything. We focus on everybody's excellence. So, for instance, Brian gets in, he looks over every piece of data. There's no way the rest of us even have time to do that. Brian looks at everything. So he consequently has a lot of the forecasting done. And when we make our forecast, we all take a look at it and we'll have discussions about it. But Brian's kind of the long-range weather guy, which is why he does that daily blog in here, so we can really look out and see what the next threats may be. Ryan is the graphics guru and the computer guru, so he's in charge of making the bulk of the graphics. All of us are somewhat creative, but not all of us have the ability to make especially 3D graphics, and we're the only ones that really utilize those machines to their fullest capabilities, and that's thanks to Ryan. When we look at Carson, he's in charge of our community outreach. So we're working on a project with a lot of the schools around the area. He works the weekends, which is a really hard shift because it's around the clock, essentially. So he's here one day a week. And a lot of times we have to pull him in to do other duties. Like this Friday, he's going to be working sunrise because Tawana's off. So Carson, again, the liaison with a lot of the community stuff. When we look at Tawana, she's not only in charge of doing all the morning stuff that you see on Sunrise and through the Today Show, but she came aboard as being part of our web team. So she understands a lot of the digital stuff that we do and sort of the strategic plans behind how we push things out digitally. And then I'm pretty much a fossil. I've been around long enough, they still keep me around, right?
Fossil? No, that's not treating yourself with enough respect. Kevin has been here since 1998, by the way.
That's pretty much.
That's 25 plus years. He is a staple in the Louisville weather community. I promise you. Yes.
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 Well, we have a lot of fun doing what we do, and we couldn't do what we do without the great team that we have. So they're a lot of fun to work with. I always enjoyed learning from Tom and John. And when it was just the three of us on the team, I soaked up everything I could. And I still talk to both of those guys. Talked to John just earlier today, in fact. So it's it's good to be a part of a team, and we have a great team.
Our history goes back to 1969 and beyond with this weather team here. We can trace our lineage all the way back there, and everybody's kind of met each other all the way back to that era. So I think that's really cool. That's rare. Super rare in this industry.
Almost all of us are from here, so we sort of have a passion by by default. And I think the only one on our team, Tawana, is not necessarily from here, but her mom's now moving here.
She's adopted.
She's pretty much she's here now, and
she's a Louisvillian by adoption. We're going to give it to her. Absolutely.
We love that.
Heck yeah!
All right, we have to go. It's 9:42. We've rambled on far too long. I hate to hang it up because so many of you are still in here. I hope we've given you what you needed for tonight in terms of the snow. Remember, 2 more snows. We have the winter storm warning tonight. Again, for the snow totals that you see on the screen, we have a winter weather advisory tomorrow night, meaning Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, for another inch or so of snow. So that's going to create some slick driving conditions. Be careful. We know it's snowing across much of the area. That snow will continue spreading east as night goes on. We've got our snowboard. Don't forget that. We're going to be checking that. Let's get one more check. No, we have no snow.
Squinting at the snowboard all night.
Come on.
It'll make you go cross-eyed trying to do that.
All right, we'll say goodbye for now. We hope you guys will jump back in here tomorrow. You know what? I think I'm going to get the storm tracker tomorrow.
It's going to be exciting. Kevin's going to go out in the elements and see where everybody's at, what everybody's doing.
I think we'll do that tomorrow, maybe around 3 or 4 o'clock tomorrow. So that should be fun, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning I'll see you tonight at 11 o'clock. And then Tawana's on Sunrise. Brian will be back in here between 9 and 10, unless somebody's having breaking news and they kick him out.
Yeah.
And outside of that, we'll be back tomorrow evening, I'm sure, just to sort of recap and set the stage for what Thursday looks like. So have a great night, everybody. We will see you back here at 11 o'clock.
Good night, everybody.